Good morning, y'all. Welcome to Just Dig It Farms. Today, I'm going to give you a tour of the Potager Garden. Let's start right here at the entrance into the Potager Garden. In front of the fence of the garden, I've got a rose and perennial border on both sides, there and there. So let's take a look at these first. I've got two roses here. This one is Cattywampus. So beautiful. And this is the climbing form. So soon she'll be climbing up that post and down the fence, hopefully. And a Cattywampus over here as well. This one's older than that one. My friend Lacey gave me two of these when we first started building the garden. And that one ended up being a shrub form, so I just replaced it this past year. So hopefully it will start climbing. Around the base of the containers, I have a little evergreen herb called germander. Very cute little herb. We've got echinacea that's starting to bud out. It'll be blooming soon. That's oregano, and this is a new rose that I just planted early this spring. This is Duchère. So pretty. Then we've got Spanish lavenders, more echinacea, yarrow, and this is very medicinal. A lot of medicinal qualities to yarrow. My mind just went blank. I can't remember who this is. More Spanish lavender, echinacea. Here's some peonies. This is phlox. It'll be blooming soon. This beautiful rose here is a climber. It's called Lamarck. It's one of my favorite white, creamy yellow climbers. I had it on my garden shed and it just wasn't doing well over there. I don't think it got enough sun, so I moved it over here. It's gonna be pretty climbing the potager fence. Then we got catmint. This rose is Duchess de Brabant, and there's a few little blooms on here. I like these old antique cabbage roses. They're my favorites. And then we've got more yarrow, and then the rose down on the end here is New Dawn, one of my favorite old antique roses. So fragrant, so beautiful. On this side, so we've got Cattywampus, more germander, a different phlox. I can't remember who's who until it starts blooming. And I tucked in some little Salvia greggii back here. These things are so cute, these little Salvia greggii. They have little leaves and they're semi-evergreen and they only get about 2 feet tall. And they're really good companion plants at the base of roses because they put off a type fragrance that helps with roses. So I've heard, so I wanted to give it a try. Then I just added this rose here this year. This is Marie Pavier. And more phlox, tons of phlox. It just multiplies like crazy. Catmint. This rose is Maggie. Maggie is beautiful. More peonies, more phlox, Spanish lavender, more echinacea. This is a different one. This is Angustifolia. And this is Belinda's Dream, but she's not doing very well. I don't know why she struggles so much here. But look at the bloom. Spectacular. This is Sweet Annie. It is an type of an artemisia or wormwood, and it smells so good. No flowers, just foliage. It's got like these little tiny little blooms on it, but it is so wonderful to make wreaths out of it because it smells so good. This rose is, I think it's Frank Carl Druschke. I really don't know how to pronounce it right, but there's no big bloom on it, just this bud, but it makes a big white fragrant flower. So pretty. Down here is just a hodgepodge. I've got a lot of reseeding annual wildflowers down here, but I've also got this sweet little rose, which is called Caldwell's Pink, and my friend Holly gave me this. We've got all kinds of things in here. We've got larkspurs and yarrow and little cornflowers. Johnny jump ups are playing out back there. I believe this is a rudbeckia that will start blooming soon. And we've got lots of bee balm popping up. Okay, let's go into the Potager Garden and take a look at the beds. On this arbor here, she's finished blooming, she's playing out, but this is Rosa multiflora carnea, and it's really, really pretty. It's just a spring bloomer, but it puts on a magnificent show, and she's at the end of her show now. But very, very sweet rambling rose, very fragrant, very vigorous. So on the right side over here, that is winter savory and echinacea back here in the back. And these are dahlias, Bee's Choice from the Floret collection. All of these back here are winter squash. So I've got butternut, curry, spaghetti squash, speckled hound, I don't know what all, I can't remember what all I planted here, but a lot of winter squashes. And these are sunflowers that just reseeded and popped up from last year. I've got calendulas going down through the side, and back here in the back along the fence, I've got Celosia Rose Gold. Then we've got some precious metal zinnias. Then we've got Celosia Pink Chenille, and then Victorian Wedding zinnias, and these are all from the Floret collection. Right down here, this is just a lot more wildflowers. I had to replant my eucalyptus this year, it died. Got catmint, horehound. This is a beautiful rose called Buff Beauty, and it's like a orange, like a real pale tangerine type color. So pretty. It's going to be pretty climbing up this bed frame. Yarrow, hyssopus I just planted, lemon balms. That's lemon verbena. I planted some more echinacea over there, and that's more hyssop. So as you go on down, this is the medicinal herb border, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Okay, let's go over here to my second bed where I have summer squashes. So we've got more savory, more Bee's Choice dahlias. We've got all the summer squashes, patty pans, gentry yellow, crookneck, zucchinis, and in the back here along the fence, I've got more of the Floret zinnias and celosias. That zinnia is unicorn mix. And on the end here, I planted some milkweed, and this is called Soulmate. It's a real pretty pink milkweed, so I'm excited about that. Then I've got echinacea, and my blueberry, who is suffering, is just struggling. Okay, let's take a look at the third bed. Well, first, this is my little circle bed, and I've got Spanish lavender, and then this is a Persian lime. in my beautiful new containers that my friend Jacqueline picked up for me. So this is bed 3. We've got chamomile right here. And behind it is celosia, pink chenille. Behind it we've got some zinnias here from the Floret collection that are starting to bloom. These beautiful little pastel colors. Those are the Victorian wedding. These are all my peppers, my little pepper patch here. We've got banana pepper, shishito, jalapeno, poblanos, cayenne peppers, chili peppers, little mini bell peppers, touchdown and Hasenator bell peppers. That is Genovese basil, and those are all Amish paste tomatoes. Then down at the end here, on this little trellis that Jean and I made a long time ago, I've got birdhouse gourds planted. And then on this trellis, I've got the blue butterfly pea. Down here at the end, we've got cilantro. And this is my nemesis. We've got an armadillo in the garden again, digging up everything. I've got a couple of eggplants. Then I've got oreganos planted all down through here. I just looked at this bed. This is bed 4, and the armadillo was out here again last night and pretty much destroyed this bed. I'm so furious with that little demon. Jean is going to go hunting tonight, I hope. And maybe we can find some of that armadillo scram today. It's ridiculous. So this is chamomile, more celosia. This one is rose gold. This is more precious metals back there as well. And then all down through here, these are different tomatoes. I've got some basils in here. On this trellis, I've got some indeterminate tomatoes. I've got sweet basils. There's mortgage lifter, all of those. That is an Abe Lincoln, boxcar wheelies. Got 3 of those. They're all doing well. And then all 4 of these rows is okra and crackerjack marigolds. On the end here, I've got a lot of different herbs. I've got, on this trellis, I've got birdhouse gourds, and they're starting to come up. Right there. I've got, this is oregano, chives, cinnamon basils, and Thai basils, all down through there. Flat leaf parsley. This is the African nunum basil, and it's a cross between basil and oregano. I've got sages back here, echinacea, blueberries. This is bed 6, and we've got feverfew and more zinnias. On my trellises here, I've got pink eye purple hull peas and calendulas. At the end, I've got sage. So pretty. Sage is in our house medicinal herb seed collection, and I just planted more of those that I started this year. I've got some garlic here from Halls, and I can't remember which one it is. I know it's a red. I have to look in my book. I've got lemon balm. And then in this bed, I just harvested yesterday. Everything that was in the middle right there was onions that I started way back in September. I think I started the seed. I harvested all of those onions yesterday. We ended up with 130 big, beautiful, delicious onions. So I'm excited about that. My goal is to always keep something planted in the beds. So every time I take something out, I try to put something back. And that way I'm keeping the soil covered. Plus I'm keeping more things growing. Either planting food so that we have more successions of different things, different crops, or I'm planting flowers or cover crops to encourage beneficials and to build our soil. So when I dug these onions out yesterday, I re-sowed this with contender bush beans. This is collards. We love collards around here. This is chard. And we've got some cabbages over here. Some red panda sorrel. Stuff's beautiful. Tastes really good too. This is broccolis, different kinds of broccolis. And that empty spot there was kohlrabis, and I harvested all of those yesterday. So those are beans now. And we've got all different kinds of broccoli here. I popped in some borage, good companion plant with cucumbers, which is what's back here. All along the trellis we've got different kinds of cucumbers. We've got National Pickling Cucumber, Halcinator's Pickling Cucumber, Max Pack, Halcinator Slicer, and I think that's it. Here's a few cauliflowers. I harvested a big head yesterday. More borage and wing cucumber that came up. I need to re-sow this area. This bed has more chamomile or chamomile. Celosia sponge sugar. This one's going to be beautiful. And Zinnia's unicorn mix from the Floret collection. This, I just sowed all 3 of these rows with contender bush beans. All along the trellis here, we've got lemon basils and Cherokee purples, tomatoes. We've got 4 of those. Kellogg's breakfast, big beef, armadillo, and better boys. And on the ends here, I've got tarragon, sage, a couple of blueberries, and a bunch of irrigation pipe. This is bed 7, and I've got sage and potatoes. These are red Norlands, Kennebecks, and Yukon Golds that we planted back in the end of February. This is my grape arbor, and these are table grapes. I've got Foxy Lottie, Daytona, and Stover, and these are all Pierce disease resistant varieties, so we can grow them here. They're developing little grapes. Okay, we've already taken a look at this bed. That's the one that had the onions that I just harvested. And we looked at this bed, that's the potatoes. So let's walk right under the table grape tunnel here. And here is another one of my circle beds. This is Spanish lavender, and honeybees are foraging on it this morning. They love it. And this is a Meyer lemon tree. We're growing all of our citrus in these pots because then we can carry them into the greenhouse over the winter time. Now on this potato bed, we've got red sorrels, cabbages, kales, and these are Kiowa blackberries on my trellis here. So we're gonna have some blackberries this year. Look at those blackberries. All the way down through here. We're gonna have a harvest of blackberries. This is bed 9, and these are blanket flowers or Gallarda. This is a tough perennial. It can take it in the heat, buddy. It'll be blooming when it's 105 degrees out here. And this is a little echinacea popped up. That's Jerusalem sage. I need to harvest some of the tubers because that's what you eat. And this is just spreading like crazy. More blanket flower. A lot of irrigation pipe laying out here. I'm sure y'all have noticed throughout this garden tour, all of this PVC pipe and black irrigation pipe running all in my beds. Well, we are in the process of installing irrigation to the whole potager garden and the new fruit orchard and market garden area. Finally, we have been building this potager garden for 7 years. This is our 7th year of gardening, and we started out with one little bed up front. So we have been building this for 7 years. The whole 7 years, we have hand watered this with a hose pipe, and we have had summer droughts almost every year of that garden. So it has been long, hot summer hours out here, hand watering all of this with a hose pipe. So we are finally getting the irrigation installed, and it will be done this year. We ordered a solar powered pump, and Gene is getting all of that set up. He's created these headers here, and we've got, we call it funny pipe, running all down each row of the beds, so it's going to irrigate it. We're going to put timers on it so it'll come on all by itself and go off all by itself. I am so excited about this because this is going to save me hours upon hours. Plus, it's going to increase our garden tremendously because it's just humanly impossible to water all of this garden, everything, like it needs to be during the droughts during the summer. It's already hot here. It's already in the upper 80s. So we're already hot, and it's only May, the beginning of May. Not only watering with a hose pipe, but we're watering with these we're also watering with these tripod sprinkler things and setting them up in different beds. And that is really not good because that water is overhead water going on the foliage, and you can leave that thing running for an hour and check your soil, and that deep, beyond that deep, is dry. So it's really not doing a good job at all. Plus, it's really harmful for the plants because that water is settling on that foliage, and then disease, fungus, bacteria can set in on your leaves and on your plants. You end up with things like blight and all kinds of issues because of overhead watering. It's better to have this drip tape or funny pipe at the base of the plant where the water's going directly at the roots of the plant and the foliage is never getting wet. And that is the most efficient, best way to water your garden. So I'm so excited because we are finally getting this installed. It's cost some money. We've had to save our pennies to get all of this, and it's taken time. It's taken a lot of energy, a lot of time, and a lot of research on Gene's end, figuring out how to hook everything up, the solar panel, the solar pump, all of that stuff. So as always, this garden is a work in progress, and you see hose pipes everywhere, and you see tripod sprinklers and PVC pipe laying everywhere and funny pipe everywhere, and it's just a work in progress. This is a working garden, a working farm. It's probably never going to be just Instagram perfect world tour because we've always got something we're working on in this garden. So I will keep y'all updated on the progress of the irrigation. Okay, let me show you the rest of bed 9. Okay, there's the blanket flowers and the Jerusalem sage. These are goji berries. And then all of these are cabbages, broccolis, and cauliflowers. And that is more blackberries. This is my greenhouse, and these are arborvitaes, emerald green arborvitaes. I'm trying to create a wall here to hide the greenhouse, but we are about to make some changes over here. This whole section over here is about to be reworked a little bit. So In the future, Jean is going to build me a greenhouse, like a window greenhouse, or we're going to purchase one. We haven't made the decision yet. I've been looking at Grower Solutions and I've been looking at Yoderbuilt. And we've also talked about it probably be just cheaper for him to build me one. So I don't know if we're gonna leave this and let this be our citrus house or what we're gonna do, but we're about to rework this whole section over here because right here is messy. In fact, there was 2 snakes laying right there the other day and I about had a heart attack. But this is water catchment basins, I guess. I don't know what you call them. So we're getting more of these and we're gonna pump water into these and have that as part of our irrigation system as well. So we're gonna line these up. So all of this has gotta be cleaned out and we're reworking this whole section over here. And right here, so I've got those arborvitaes in this little curve right here. We're gonna eliminate this curve so that we can actually drive through right here with the digger and be able to get to the beds, because we're gonna be putting up more fencing all the way around the potager garden, all the way around, and we're trying to create access to where we can drive in right there with the digger and come through and be able to haul in stuff. So we're gonna eliminate this and we're gonna turn this area into a way that we can drive through. This rose Jean gave me for Valentine's Day. It's a little red drift rose. So I'm gonna have to find it a new home, but that's gonna be so much better. These are big 25-gallon pots that I'm experimenting with some potatoes and sweet potatoes. These are more of the Kennebec, Yukon Gold, and Red New Orleans. These 2 are turmeric. I've planted turmeric in here. I've got a good video about how to grow turmeric. I'll link it. And these 3 are sweet potatoes. In front of my greenhouse, I've got my Satsuma, Caracara navel orange, and that's going to be a sweet kumquat. Jean went by petals from the past the other day to get his mom a couple of roses for Mother's Day, and he asked for the sweet kumquat, and Jason said that Dr. Powell had some propagating, and as soon as they're ready, they're going to give me a call. These are my raised beds. So I've got asparagus and strawberries companion planted here. Got a video about that as well. I'll link it. We've been picking lots of strawberries and eating them. I don't see any in here because I picked them all last night. These are more sweet potatoes. These are all Beauregard sweet potatoes. The past 3 years, I've tried growing sweet potatoes in the potager garden beds. Well, we've had wireworms in them for 3 years in a row, and I've tried everything I know to do to organically handle that. Nothing's really working. So I decided this year that I was not going to plant them in the potager beds, and I was going to do different things. So I've got some planted in my raised bed. I've got some planted in those containers. I've planted some in the market garden. So hopefully, out of all those 3 different places, we're gonna have sweet potatoes this year. This is more asparagus and strawberries. And this one is celery, beets, and spinach. And we've got some empty places here where the beets didn't come up, so I need to get something in there because you can see what happens. Little grass starts popping up. And this is my bed full of carrots. I pulled some yesterday and they're really good. They're really sweet. They're not quite big enough yet, so I'm hoping that they're gonna get bigger quicker so I can get these harvested before it gets too extremely hot, because I don't want them to get bitter. That's a pretty decent sized carrot right there. So that's my raised beds, and then right behind it here, this trellis is part of our fence around the potager garden, and I've got determinate tomatoes planted here and a few cherry tomatoes. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to plant in front here. Ran out of basil, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do there yet. There is my garden shed and our chicken coop. It's just a big mess. This is my compost pile. We're gonna have to rethink that and rework that as well. I've been using some of it though, it's really good. And back here, you can see down the hill is another garden that we're planting this year. And we've got corn, watermelons, zipper peas, bush beans, okra, and 26 more tomatoes. As that grows a little bit, we'll go down and I'll give you a tour of that little garden too later on. This is my pomegranates. We've got wonderful Russian and white fruited. White fruited's my favorite because it's so sweet. And this is all my medicinal herb border here. Look at this passion flower. Oh my goodness. Look at all of the little buds. This thing is going to be blooming. Woo, it's gonna be beautiful. There was a couple of blooms on it the other day, but they've fallen off. This is about to be a show right here. It's got the coolest flower. We got the passion flower vine. We've got mullein right there. Echinacea, yarrows. That's marshmallow. This rose is Katy Road Pink, and I have it in my medicinal herb border because she makes big, wonderful rose hips. More marshmallow. This is Agastache Lavender Martini. It's supposed to make a delicious tea. And this is motherwort, the herb for mothers. I planted this. This is in our medicinal herb seed collection with Hoss, and I started these seeds last year. So this is from last year. It's spreading and multiplying. It is in the mint family. This is Old Blush Rose. It makes nice hips. I stuck in a few little echinaceas. Comfrey. We've got lots of comfrey here, which is fabulous. This is my Florida sugar maple, which makes a wonderful shade spot right here. In central Alabama here, it gets so stinking hot in the summertime that these shade spots are coveted. Any place where you can find a little shade and work in a little shade is just nice. Comfrey, hyssop, echinaceas, catmint. You can see these growing back here. This is hops, and this is also in our collection. This was from last year, so it's starting to go up, and it'll come across this whole fence back here. This rose is Basie's Blueberry, and the pollinators love it, but it also makes excellent rose hips. We've got lemon balm, more agastache, hyssop, and then we're back to this spot which I showed y'all earlier. There's some empty spaces in my herb border, and I've got some herbs in my greenhouse that I started from our collections again this year, and I'm going to pop those in the garden next week. Okay, so that is a quick, very quick tour of the Potager Garden. Now I'm just going to show you the market garden, the new market garden and fruit orchard, but I'm not going to really give you a tour of it because I am headed to the beach for a week. I'm supposed to already be left to go get my mom. I'm going to the beach for a week with my mom, my brother, sister-in-law, nephew, and Chance and Renee and Cooper's going to come down for a little bit. So I've got to get on the road, but I want to at least show you just a little bit of the market garden and fruit orchard. So this is all new. We just put this in a couple months ago. So this is my market garden here. And you walk through, he's made me this little tunnel. I'm going to plant gourds on it this year, and I'll change things up. I'll plant different things on this every year. And then on each side of it, I've got okra, more okra. We eat lots of okra. And then as you walk in, all of that in the back, this kind of turned out to be a weird shaped bed. So it's kind of like a rainbow here, but I've got coghill sunflowers planted all back there. sweet potatoes. This is gonna be pumpkins. That's gonna be pumpkins. Those are zinnias. I think I'm gonna put my rosales down there this year because they get so big. And then all around is the fruit. It's the fruit border. We've started on the wall here, and we're gonna be espaliering those fruit trees. We've got pears, apples, and then these are all figs. Good morning.
Morning.
You headed to church?
Mm-hmm.
You gonna miss me?
Why?
Because I'm gonna be gone for a week. Yes, you're gonna be sad. All right, y'all, that is just a little quick tour of the Potager Garden and a little bit of the market garden and fruit border. I've got to hit the road. I'm headed to the beach. Gene and his mom and dad are headed to the church. While I'm gone, him and Pop and Mom will be holding down the fort and hopefully keeping my garden alive. Yeah? Yeah. God bless you. We'll see y'all next week.